guys are amazing. Love it. Love it. Well, I'd like to offer a poem for today's lesson. This poem was written in the late 1700s by Samuel Taylor Coleridge, and it's called What If You Slept? What if you slept? And what if, in your sleep, you dreamed? And what if, in your dream, you went to heaven and there plucked a strange and beautiful flower? And what if, when you awoke, you had that flower in your hand? Ah, what then? The poet asks. Some years back, I had a most abnormal experience of this very thing. One night I dreamt that I was driving down the street and this little mouse jumped from the floor up on the passenger seat and then jumped on me while I was driving. And of course, in my dream, I'm just, And that was on a Saturday night that I had that dream. The next day, I told my husband, Steve, and I said, man, you're not going to believe this. I had the craziest dream about a mouse in my car. So that day, I'm driving home from church after doing the church service, and I'm peacefully driving down the road. I was a block away from my house, and sure enough, a little mouse jumps up on the seat. The passenger seat was looking at me like he was about ready to jump on me, just like in the dream. And I start screaming my head off, and Lord knows what the people around me were thinking. I quickly parked the car in front of the house, ran into the living room where Steve was talking to his mom on the phone. And I couldn't, sometimes when I get panicked, I don't talk normally, I get all nasally. And I said, there's a mouse in my car. And he's trying to have a conversation with his mom, and he's like, there's a mouse in my car. And needless to say, he hung up the phone and he was able to get the mouse out of the car. And it just freaked us both out, right? Because I had just dreamt that exact same thing that very night. So later that day, I thought, okay, I got to call my friend, Dr. Michael Lennox. Some of you might know him. He's an expert when it comes to dream analysis. And so he said, now that's interesting. Every once in a while, I come across people who can create physical reality from their dreams. But be very mindful, he said, Cathy, this can be a most magnificent example of how powerful the imagination can be. It has been said that the most powerful thing in the universe is energy. If you truly understand how to influence and direct this energy, you will find that you will be very mindful of how you are in the world. So today we're going to talk about the power of the imagination and how to make the formless into form. This is one of my very favorite 10 principles of unity. Top 10. Not that we have 10 principles, but this is my top 10. I just love unity, let me just put it that way. But let's take a moment to look at the word. I-Magi-Nation. I, personal pronoun, Magi, magician, nation. You are the magician of your own nation. You are the magician of your own world. You are the magician of your own energy. And you can use the power of the imagination to create the kind of world that you prefer. Therefore, imagination is an extremely powerful tool to direct your energy. Our co-founder, Charles Fillmore, says this: the faculty of the mind that images is the power to shape and form thought. This imaging faculty manages the nerve center between the eyes, the third eye, where the formless takes form. So let's look at this a little bit more in depth, shall we? Imagination is the conduit between your higher mind, your divine mind, and your physical mind. It's the conduit. It's the pipeline through which your higher mind communicates with you and through you. And it's up to you to use this power positively or, if you want, negatively. It's always up to you how you want to use the power of energy. And either way, you are shaping energy, the energy of thought. Most people are unconscious to how they create their unwanted circumstances. However, if you're willing to use your imagination positively, you will see then that there's magical results, magical things, serendipitous, synchronistic things that will start to happen in your life. So let's just break this down a little further with an example. Consider Tiger Woods for a moment. How many golfers do we have in here? We have some. Even if you're not a golfer, you're going to love this story. He does the impossible. As he has expressed, he uses his imagination every day for his daily practice. This is what he does. He always imagines the end result. One day he was playing in a tournament in Kauai. The conditions were horrendous. There were hail force winds, and the camera crews were just about ready to call it quits. I mean, the cameras were just shaking. But they thought, okay, let's just get Tiger one more time. And Tiger's about 40 feet away from the pin, a long putt. So he putts the ball gently, and it was a really terrible putt until the ball rolled and began self-correcting. But then the wind kicked up again, which began to appear to be a really terrible putt, about 12 feet now from the mark, in the other direction. And you could hear the audience just gasp, no, no, no. You know how it is when you're watching something like this, like, no, that can't happen. But then the ball began to self-correct again. The ball neared to about 3 feet from the pin, starting slowly down 2 feet, slowing down further, 1 foot away from the cup, slowing down further. The wind just begins to blow, and the ball stopped maybe 3 centimeters or so away from the cup, and everyone's cheering. Oh my God, this is amazing. And then the magic. The wind picks up again, which blew the ball all the way in. And the audience just goes, whoa, whoa, yeah! That's amazing golf. And Tiger is able to pull off that kind of putt under those conditions because he imagines the end result, where he says, I am a world-class, below par professional. I am a champion. I am number one. And that end result, my friends, starts the universe working backwards. I want you to listen very carefully. The universe works backwards. The universe starts with the ball in the cup, the end result. The universe knows that the wind is going to, what the wind is going to be, and it knows that it's going to be very gusty. The universe works backwards, considering every detail and considering how far the swing should go, considering how heavy the club is, how much power is needed. Bottom line, the universe does the virtually impossible if we can hold on to our end results and move forward with them, even though it looks like nothing is happening. Your job is to employ your imagination with your end result, and the universe knows how to get you there. It orchestrates details flawlessly, far beyond your understanding, as long as you can hold on to the end result and move with it. And here's the trick. Here's the trick. You can't let The conditions of the world dictate where you want to be. You can't let the wind dictate where you are going. You can't let the current conditions dictate your end result. Imagination, if used properly, is a state of being that goes beyond condition-based thinking. Jesus was a master at this. He was a master at looking beyond the condition. People would come to Jesus with their illness. He did not see them in their illness. This is how he was able to heal people. He did not see them in their illness. He saw them in their wholeness. This is why we have prayer after the service. We see your wellness. We see the success that you are. We see beyond what your conditions might be. And so he saw their vibrational possibility. He saw the way that they really are, whole and well, and held that vision in mind so powerfully that he dominated the vibration of their being so that they were healed. This is how you do it, my friends. You dominate the vibration of whatever it is out there. And then he said, go forth and tell no one. Now, the reason he says, go forth and tell no one, is because most people in this world are condition-based thinking people. They let their conditions dictate their inner environment. Most people like to project their own perceptions and their own conditions onto others, right? I don't think you can do that. You don't have the money. You don't have the talent. You don't have the skill. Are you sure you want to be doing this? The world is full of condition-based thinkers, and many great healers and many great mystics know this truth. So let's bring a little science in here, shall we? This is why Charles Fillmore is one of my favorite mystical teachers, is because he was science-based, and I like science. So consider the following examples from the medical literature. These are just amazing examples. A man who died not long after hearing he had an incurable cancer, even though his autopsy revealed that he had been misdiagnosed. He was completely free of cancer. In fact, he was very healthy. He died from his imagination. A woman whose long-term depression lifted so dramatically during an antidepressant drug trial that she was sure that she was receiving the active drug, only to find out that she was part of the placebo effect. But she went into this place of great bliss and happiness. She got happy and blissful because of her imagination. A woman in Chicago died after imagining that she had been poisoned because she had felt the caffeine kick from a really strong black tea. Sometimes I feel that too. She had been poisoned by her imagination. The imagination is so very powerful, my friends. If any of you have ever read any of Dr. Joe Dispenza's book, he clearly points out the science behind this. So I'm going to read just a little bit of his book to you, just a little bit. And this is what he says. While you may indeed have genetic tendency toward developing certain diseases and conditions, the latest research shows that by learning to change your neural wiring, it's possible to turn off those undesirable genes and to signal new, healthier genes to turn on. The key is a technique called mental rehearsal, where you imagine a desired outcome in such a way that you make your inner thoughts more real than your outer environment. This is the key. Make your inner thoughts more real than your outer environment. And if you combine a clear intention, he goes on to say, of the new future you want with an elevated emotion such as joy or gratitude, you can give your body a taste of this future experience in the present moment. And then he says, if you can make it feel real enough, your brain won't know the difference and will fire new neurons and make new connections until it starts to look as if the event has actually taken place. In a nutshell, all possibilities exist in the present moment. Oh, take that one in. All possibilities exist in the present moment. So if you choose a new future, for yourself from this field of infinite possibilities, and you successfully use mental rehearsal, imagination, to make you feel real and to make it feel real enough, it's possible to actually observe that future into reality through making say that again. That's it. Whatever she said. I'm good at not pronouncing words, so good, thank you for that. It changes your DNA. You literally become someone so new, both your brain and your body will no longer identify with your old self. The good news, he goes on to say, this amazing technique can work for everyone. You don't have to be a neuroscientist or even a spiritual master to make the seemingly impossible possible. I love it. I love it when science backs up our unity principles. So here's the deal. Using the imagination tells the higher mind what your ideal scene is, and the higher mind says, the how will be taken care of. Now, isn't that nice to know? The how will be taken care of. The higher mind can see what the physical ego mind cannot see. The higher mind, the universe, God, can see how you're going to get there. The higher mind can see the many paths through which your desire can come through, and the translation through which the imagination and the physical sensation of that is excitement and joy. This is how the higher mind speaks to you, is through excitement and joy, right? The enjoyment and the excitement of your next steps. So when you have a divine idea, it usually comes in this language of joy. And then you move toward the end result. Now, you don't have to go in the right direction. I really want you to know this. Isn't that nice? You don't have to go in the right direction, because the universe is like a GPS and will offer you assistance and say, make a legal U-turn. And once you start moving, you will be sent maybe a new best friend that will connect you to the next job, or maybe a new idea, or whatever you need to get on the path. So here's a true story. There's this one woman she's a fantastic, fantastic photographer. This is her passion. And this passion brings her great joy. Remember, spirit speaks through joy, through excitement. And so the other passion that she had was that she wanted to travel around the world, photographing all these sacred sites. Her physical reality, the condition in her world was, yeah, but I don't have enough money. Her company that she had been working for had to downsize, and she lost her job. So she could have gone with the condition, well, I don't have a job, I don't have the money. But she began to use the power of the imagination. She saw the end result, right? The universe works backwards. She imagined herself in the end result. She did not allow her current definitions to stop her. She did not allow outer circumstances to dictate her inner environment. My friends, sometimes you have to look beyond the definitions that you might have. You have to look beyond the conditions that you might have, the so-called facts. But she allowed herself to stay in the vibration of her imagination, where anything is possible, right? In the imagination, anything is possible, instead of her going into fear frequency. By staying in the appropriate vibration of her ideal scene, she was able to receive inspiration and guidance of how she could live her dream. So just a side note here, if you are in fear frequency, if you are in anger frequency, if you are in resentment frequency, it is very difficult to receive higher guidance, because that's the vibration you're living in. Guidance will be invisible to you. However, what she did, she stayed in that state of being where all things good happen. She received inspiration and she received guidance, and her guidance felt like great joy. And so she went into action. Remember, it doesn't matter which direction you're going, you can't go in the wrong direction. You just got to move, right? So this is what she said. I will go to the airlines and I will ask them to fly me around the world for free so that I may take wonderful photos of these sacred sites. And then she added, if you fly me all over the world for free, the beautiful pictures that I will take, you can use in your travel brochures. It was a fair exchange. They said, absolutely, great idea. And not only did they fly her for free around the world to do it, they paid her to do it. They put her up at the finest hotels. She lived the dream like a queen, her ideal scene, and she didn't spend a dime. The point being, if the physical ego mind thinks, how am I going to make this happen? How am I going to figure this out? How can I bring everything together? It takes a master not to buy into the world of conditions. It takes a master to see beyond circumstances, situations, illnesses, and disturbances. But I know that each one of you are masters. Just remember, the physical ego mind is not designed to know how things will happen. Therefore, if you are willing to use your imagination without filtering it through the lens of fear or resentment or anger, you will find the outcome will always be a most magical, serendipitous one. You will know the true use of I-Magi-Nation. You will be the magi, the magician of your own nation, your own world, your own energy. So let's take a moment right now to go beyond conditions. I want you to just take a moment, if you will, to imagine whatever end result you are looking to have. As you imagine it, I want you to take it on, a state of being. I want you to feel it within every fiber of your being. I want you to be it. I want you to celebrate it. And I would like for you right now to trust, right now, and let the universe work backwards to handle the details. Just trust. There's nothing for you to do right now, but just trust. And I want you to trust yourself that if you get an idea to move forward in a certain direction, that as you move forward, the universe meets you there. Spirit meets every action. And know right now, just trust, you're going to be in the right place at the right time to connect with the right people, to do whatever it is you need to do for that end result. So once again, just tune into that end result. Celebrate it. Be it. And so, dear God, we give thanks for this power of the imagination. What a great, great, powerful gift you have given us. We use it wisely. We use it in partnership with you. And for this, we do give thanks. And so it is. Amen.